Well, hello, hello, my faithful viewers. I want to take a look at you know who, dun dun dun, Donald Trump. And I want to look at his chances for becoming president in 2021. It's hard to imagine. We're in the roaring 20s now. Are we roaring yet? The one thing that I thought would help us determine the fate of our country was the amount of direct and um, retrograde secondary progressions in the candidates' charts. I favor Bernie Sanders because he has very, very good um, transits for the time of the election. Everything's looking good for him. It is now almost April of 2020, and the Democratic Party has basically wrapped this one up. I've done both Bernie's and Biden's charts, and Biden did not look good at all, and Bernie was a little stronger. I do feel that something's going to. Bernie has not dropped out yet, uh, and once again the DNC has uh, tilted the wheel towards Biden, but Biden doesn't have the strong aspects. He's failing in health, and things are just too rough for him. Um, and Bernie has the good aspects, but I thought, well, gee whiz, as much as hard as it is to look at Trump's chart, he's a full moon baby. I've done several charts on Donald Trump, so I won't go into the excruciating details of what makes Donald Donald. The one thing, though, in looking at Bernie's chart, Biden's chart, and Donald Trump, I think the one thing that has made Donald Trump a Teflon president, meaning nothing sticks, is in his secondary progressed chart. He has no retrograde planets, which is very rare. Uh, Everybody's chart, usually for the secondary progressions, has some things that have gone backwards. I described it as if you are just about to win a race, a hiking or swimming race, and you have a backpack. Somebody's putting stones in the backpack, and everything's like harder. They're little weights. They're little weights. They hold you back in everything. Um, Whatever you hope and dream to do, you can get there, but you have to swim, climb, and do a little more than other. It's a very, very hard. I have a normal chart, and every time a secondary progression goes forward or backwards, I can feel it almost immediately. Um, he has no he has no retrograde planets at that time, and he did make an. This is the way it's been for him for a very long time. He's noticed it. He's the one that said he could shoot somebody in Times Square and get away with it, and that's the problem. Many people have sat back and watched this debacle of whatever is going on, and you just can't believe it. Nothing sticks with this guy. It doesn't matter. Hookers in the White House, children in cages, impeachments be damned. And so that's what we have going on. He has the good and the bad. So he and Bernie, I feel, are, and also I earlier I did Mitt Romney. He looked good, but he's not entered the race. So everything's going to depend on whether Trump makes it to the um, election, or Mitt Romney doesn't step in for the Republican nomination. Because, see, I'm looking at good and bad aspects, black and white. And you have Mitt Romney might have something wonderful happen in his own personal life. I feel that his standing up during the impeachment will always show up as a bright star on his political career. Was that the thing that made him really exceed his abilities? We don't know. But if we look at um, Trump's chart, we're going to find that there are no retrograde planets. Something small that could hold him back would be the progress moon in the secondary progress is moving up to square his sun. I don't think that that's quite enough. But it's like one little rock thrown in your backpack. Something that helps him a little bit is progress Venus at 19 degrees of Libra, and it is finished a trine with Uranus and is moving up to a trine. Not quite, really, you have to keep your orbs tight in a projection to a specific date, and it is trying to get up to the trine, but it isn't quite there. The influence is there. Consider it like a little extra glitter on everything. To top it off, we have Jupiter in Leo, and it is just passed by 2 degrees his Gemini sun. It is kind of in a nice aspect to his full moon aspect. He was born with a full moon. Consider that when you're thinking about going into partnership with anybody. Are they a full moon baby? You better have some extra insurance. So we have this Jupiter has been in a good aspect to his Sun Moon opposition, but it has moved on. That little lucky let's call it a golden star over him, a magical star, has passed along. So those are the things that concern me. This is a square from the moon that gives all the kind of upset that is possible. And the sun is the ruler of his ascendant. As we move along, you'll see that the one thing that's going to hold him back is his health. The chances, I think I've got to put all my predictions on the amount of retrogrades so that no matter what, he can do anything, including shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. Let's go on to the transits. And then you're going to see here in the 6th house of health and also workers. The workers in the country, health insurance things. That's going to be something that sinks him. The labor unions are going to not like him, and the things he offers for health is going to backfire, whatever they are today, because it changes. But the main thing is the health. Right now he has. Let's get off to the transits and second solar arc progressions. If I get any of these signs, these planets wrong, it's because my viewpoint is different from the viewpoint that the video comes out, and it's very hard for me to see the exact signs. So it's a little. It'll be okay when after I publish it, but I can't see because just the view of my tripod and my camera. Venus looks like from where I am, Libra, early Libra, and it looks like it's squaring Mercury. That's bad news. That's bad news that hurts your feelings. This would not be a big deal in say in your chart, and it's Venus is in a square for a day, big deal. But when it is exasperated or highlighted for one moment, that's bad news. Oh, I'm sorry. I still have the. I'm still recording. I couldn't see that. So, you're going to have a gap here. I was noting that I think Mercury's retrograde for that day. Um, that's a problem. I might have to do this over. A little problem on the visual of the chart. Oh, so it is retrograde. This is kind of making me feel like Trump gets across the finish line, but then he endures such poor health and also an uprising of workers. They're just, the unions are not happy with him. So, because I'm going to have to just uh, boil it all down to a few factors of Saturn is crossing into his sixth house of health, and it doesn't take much to figure out that it won't take much to do him in health wise. Saturn in your sixth house does make you feel awful. It runs you down so badly. So the one thing that astrologers they have over and over said January 12th was going to be his Waterloo, and that was because of Pluto and Saturn in opposition to his Sun, his Saturn, and his Venus, and they felt like that was going to do him in. I wasn't sure. Takes more than, say, an impeachment. All the putting children in cages. He's like just skated right over that stuff, and Fox News continues to make him a hero. So really, if he ends up being our president again, I am making plans to leave the country because I don't want to live in a country that cages children. It's it's horrible. So all the astrologers said that this would be a crazy time of upheaval, change in world order, world governments, because of these two heavy duty guys. These guys come around once every 20 to 25 years, making great upset, and it's in the sign of Capricorn, meaning authority. So authority will be overthrown, and there's going to be that kind of rebellious stuff going on. But I'm not sure if that's going to do him. And the other astrologers have said yes. The one thing about Jupiter's coming along to jump into the party here. We're going to have a big planet party with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. Jupiter exasperates, blows up, magnifies, and increases. So Jupiter could mean that this whole mess here is going to blow up with the Saturn in opposition to Venus. The other astrologers could be right that this could take him down, but I don't think so. I think the forecast is going to be he continues having one break after another, and people that are just so confused by this, and our country is so divided. There are people that watch Fox News and think he's wonderful, and so and there's other people that are quite sure that our country would not survive. The thing that is going to really, really, really show up is all these planets are in his fifth house. And yes, the fifth house is children. And what are children? The millennials? Yes. His own children? Yes. CCC. And the border locking children in cages. That's got me right there. I am really planning on leaving. I found some places I really like. It's not here. It's sad, but I can't deal with it anymore. But that's just me, silly me. Um, Norway, just in a regular article, said referred to the United States as a third world country. I have friends that have traveled overseas, and they said that there are traveler advisories for traveling to the United States because of the gun violence. They don't like any country, like Peru or Bolivia. They have us on a dangerous watch list because you could go to a sporting event and get killed. So that's my country, and it makes me sick. But I think this is going to exasperate. Um, Venus is uh, communications. Saturn is it's in the fifth house. That's going to make his own children, the Trump kids, really be really. This is part of the way they were raised, to be in constant suit and investigations. I'm serious. They have already been fined for robbing a charity, and yet they're accusing Biden's son of the funny business. It's just, so I'm speechless. So we have some kind of nice aspects again. These two things are coming up to trine his midheaven. So this is enough luck to help him win. So I'm not liking what I'm seeing, but I have to call it like it is. And Bernie Sanders has excellent aspects. Joe Biden does not. And I did some videos last year, and I did not see Joe Biden finishing the finish line, or if he does, expect his vice president to end up being president. So we don't know who that's going to be yet. This was written by somebody on a Facebook astrological page called Astrology and Politics. And he wrote, and his name is Monty Revnoff. So I want to give him credit. And this is like going through the weeds of when you're looking at a chart. I always say I've been so deep in the weeds I can't see the forest, and that's true. So if you want, pause it on your own video and read it and look at the charts posted, because he has some excellent observations about the solar arc. Saturn is coming up to, is coming up on his natal Neptune. And oh yeah, so we're about to look at the solar arc now. So take a look at this, pause it, and read this over. I think you will like what Monty has to say. By the way, if you are on Facebook, come and join Psychic Predictions for the World. That's a little Facebook group I have. I'm going to have to go with Trump. Whoever wins with all these aspects, if it's Biden, Biden's VP will become president. If Trump wins, God forbid, his VP will become president. We have a couple of geriatrics in poor health, and that's the way it's going to be. And Joe Biden, of course, I've always liked him, but I just have to tell the truth. And I'll try to post a link to the different charts I've done for Joe Biden. And I wish him the best, And you know what? A funny thing with Joe Biden, the best will come. His good intentions will pay off. But I like this aspect on Trump's solar arc progresses. If you're not familiar with solar arcs, educate yourself, because they're very, very cool. Especially in your own chart, they will tell you an awful lot. Here we have Uranus. It's conjunct his ascendant. I'm telling you, pack your bags. you have a Uranus on your ascendant, get out the box and call the moving company because you're moving. I've known that all my life. I have a lot of Uranus in my chart. So you can expect that. And as Monty pointed out, is the Saturn is getting really close to conjuncting his Neptune. This is unfounded fears. If you've taken any of my suggestions and gotten Everteen's combination of stellar influences, you'll see that this is unfounded. You're in a really fearful state with these two planets together. It's like constriction and fear, big time. And it's like you smoked a bunch of joints and you get this stuff that makes you paranoid and you jump out the window. So just, don't do drugs. This is a bad drug aspect. Trump is so worried about oil trade and his own personal drug use, which is going to do him in. And so you've got this square. This is what makes him a liar, is Mercury squared. Like I said, my view, I can't see the light glyphs that easily. But Mercury in Cancer squared Libra, Neptune in Libra, and it's kind of going, it hits Neptune and then gets up to Mercury. So his drug habits. Also, there's always been funny business with Russia and oil, and so that's going to do him in. This is like you can't outrun these planets, and his own paranoia, that'll kill him for sure. And you noted that the transiting Saturn is going to be right here after those nasty planets go through and make his children have to sing a different tune. But his children might get off with, they might get out of things. They have some good aspects. So here we have Venus, Saturn, Mercury. And Venus, God, Venus is right into these two things together. So that's just going to be hurt feelings, scared, paranoia, drug use. He's trying to hide from his own drug use. Drug users won't give up their habit, and this is bad. They will lie. They'll do anything to keep their habit. So here is another aspect that once again shows Trump is he's under favorable aspects, as he has been. An average person couldn't get away with this kind of stuff. And he's had this all of his life. And I've always said to people that there are more people in jail that have good Jupiter aspects. Jupiter brings you good things. It also lets you get away with things. And these are people that start getting away with things as kids, stealing something in the dime store, and pretty soon they're into larceny and God knows what else, and they get caught sooner or later. And the thing is, when you have a lot of good Jupiter aspects, you get the slap on the wrist. You might go to jail, and then you end up being the warden's favorite. So this is what happens to Jupiter people. They often get away with things, and sooner or later, I mean, really. But this just makes me sick to look at this aspect. This is his lucky ascendant. It is Regulus, and this Regulus does say, "He who lives by the sword will die by the sword," but he keeps getting away with stuff. Jupiter is at 28 degrees of Sagittarius, trining his ascendant. So that once again gives him a favorable outlook for this election. I don't like predicting this. I have to look at Bernie's chart. Bernie has a little bit better, and they are neck and neck. But I think the one thing that floats Trump through this next election is uh, no retrograde planets in his secondary secondary progressed planets. So yeah, he could win very easily. Nice. If you knew how I'm packing my bags, y'all. And Bios con Dios. I'm taking Spanish lessons right now. There is yet another lucky aspect here. Um, Midpoints. That's why I always suggest combination of stellar influences. It shows you how to combine, uh, say, 3 planets, and you've got Pluto, Jupiter, and the midheaven hitting the Pluto Jupiter midpoint, meaning that if you were to make a point in between these two things, like halfway, it's very powerful. And Jupiter and Pluto means a windfall, unbelievable success. So this is what Mr. Trump has going for him. I think he has a chance at winning. I, I, I think Bernie Sanders has the better chance than Biden. And if Biden does win the election, I think he's just his health. I'm looking at his chart. Um, if he has a good VP candidate, look at the VP candidate and have hope, because he'll pick somebody good. Joe Biden is no fool, but he's a fading fool, unfortunately. I love him. I certainly love Bernie. And meanwhile, honest to God, I am literally trying to pack now. It's just I'm having such problems. This virus is making it difficult for me to make. I do everything. You can't get anything done right now with the coronavirus, which will go down in as Trump's legacy. As I think, we don't know. They think he's Trumpsters think he's the second coming. So it's like I'm packing my bags, y'all. And I wish y'all luck, but I cannot live in a country that cages little children. I can't. We've forgotten about the little children at the border, and we're fighting for our lives because of a virus that Trump was advised about in January, and that's when the astrologers were saying that these 2 planets, Saturn and Pluto, were opposed to these 2 planets, which, if this happens in a normal person's life, it is horrible. Divorces, economic ruin, heartache, you name it. It's also hopes, wishes, and dreams in the 11th house. His kids are getting slammed, but they've already got costs for a phony charity. Really? And like I said, and they have a problem with Joe Biden's son. Really? They will all find and have to do community service. There's nothing more vile, really, cheating charities. But the astrologers have said all along that Trump's Waterloo would be these guys in opposition to these guys. I beg to differ. Trump has too many things going for him, and this will just be another bullet that he has dodged. My prayers are with my country. Leave contact information. I'll send you a postcard because I have some plans, and my conscience makes it difficult for me to remain in such a train wreck of my own dear country. So, but I can make my YouTubes where I'm going. I can make a travel video. Woohoo! I love you all so much. If you want to know about the new things coming up with the charts, please subscribe, because it's hard. As you know, I have done, my favorite series has been The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where I have done charts of people that are truly horrible and charts of people that are true angels. I've been working on Bill Gates' chart. It looks beautiful. What a darling man. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how to avoid that in your own life, because you've had these people show up in your life too. How do you spot them? So that's the idea behind that series. So I love you all, and bios con Dios.